So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first session of the Tata Steel Trailblazers Conclave 4.0. And the session is actually very interesting and, in the literal sense, extremely inspiring. It speaks about sports and inspiration. So, let me start with a very, very small story. We all have witnessed the heroics of a certain Sanju Samson in the recent T20 World Cup. And I'm starting with the recent example. Out of the team, then suddenly drafted into the side to tackle the off-spin problem, and he plays 3 match-winning knocks back-to-back, gets player of the tournament, something you'll cherish forever. So what does Sanju Samson say after he pulls off another match-winning knock against New Zealand in the final of the ICC T20 Men's World Cup 2026? He says, "My father was a fisherman. Every day, he would go out fishing. Some day he would come back empty-handed. Someday he would be very happy and satisfied. But what was important was the fact that he went out every day. He never ever stopped trying. And that is how I learned the lesson from my father. That in any situation I can be put in any situation, and I'll still try and give it my best. I'll not try and think of the adversities. I'll not try and think of the outcome, but I'll put my best foot forward. I'll give it my 100%. And this is how, ladies and gentlemen, inspirational stories are formed. And we have 4 extremely inspirational panelists. And it's an honor and privilege for me, Boryada, to co-moderate this session with me. You are inspiring yourself. So why not start with you? You only mentioned, just before we were about to start the session, that sports is all about storytelling. Why don't you start this first session of the Trailblazers Conclave by telling us an inspirational story that you have witnessed, or you have been a part of, or you love telling? Because sports is all about storytelling.
I'll take 1 minute because I've already taken more time. I'll take 1 minute and then let's hear from them. It's about them, not me today. So this is in Rio 2016. Sachin Tendulkar was brand ambassador of that particular Olympic Games. He had a cast because he had a broken foot, a broken ankle. So he called and we said, let's meet. He said, but I can't walk. I said, listen, nobody will mob you here. So why don't we go to the beach and let's have breakfast together? So he says, okay, but you've got to come and take me. So I said, okay. So we go to the hotel and we walk to the Baja beach. And he said, all we want is omelette sandwich, simple omelette sandwich. Just get us omelette sandwich. Unfortunately, the person at the store, the shop didn't understand. He couldn't follow even one word of English. So Sachin said, yaar, kuch to karo, samjhao inko, I want omelette sandwich. So by then there was one guy who we thought was kind of able to understand English, okay? So he said, ask him. And that guy realized that I was obviously sort of looking at Sachin, speaking to Sachin with a kind of degree of reverence. So he came and said, who is this guy? So I said, can you tell the shop person that we want omelette sandwich? He said, yeah, but who's this guy? So I said, do you know cricket? He said, no. Cricket, no. So I said, football? He said, football, Pele, Brazil, football. I said, this guy, India, 2 Pele. He said, 2 Pele. I said, yes, 2 Pele. So he does his act. He's told the shop person, we want omelette sandwich. And we've had our omelette sandwich. By the time we finished our omelette sandwich, there are about 60, 70 people outside that shop. And Sachin is telling me, what's happening here? I said, I don't know. So we go out, and this guy is making all of them sit stand in a queue. I said, boss, what are you doing? He said, you said 2 Pele. I've got all my relatives from all over Rio come and take photographs with 2 Pele. Now you tell 2 Pele. And I'm like, boss, what are you saying? He said, everybody will have coconut water with 2 Pele and will take photos. I told Sachin, now you do this. So Sachin stands there in that sun, 45 minutes, 2 Pele with coconut water and takes photographs. Sport.
That is fabulous, and that is exactly how you start the session with some inspiring stories. Let me start with Rahul sir in this regard. Sir, rugby has been extremely close to you, and you have spoken at length in various interviews, in various podcasts about rugby being very, very close to your heart. And now we have seen a lot of celebrities come and speak about rugby. We have seen a Farhan Akhtar endorsing rugby. We have seen an Abhishek Bachchan speaking about rugby. So how inspirational has that journey been, Rahul sir? I mean, seeing rugby from the scratch, loving the sport, playing it, and now functioning as an able administrator to take the sport to greater heights. Because I think it somehow highlights India's sporting ecosystem as well, that inspiration is the main mantra going forward. So how inspirational has that journey been for you as a player and then as an administrator in taking the sport forward?
Well, I think that I think what I would like to take out of that question is two things. One is what makes us all get out of bed every day and do what we do. And two is how do we do something that has meaning for the other side. There are too many people who talk at you. They don't care about how you receive me as long as I get my words out. Whereas I've always believed that what do I want to hear sitting here? Why will this become an extremely meaningful 15 minutes for you? So I get out of bed doing what I do outside of my cinema is because I love the sport. I love sport. I love this particular sport. It has taught me to lose. It has taught me to be collaborative, both of which do not come naturally to me. It has taught me finally to shoot through my fears. Off the field, till today, the closest I can get to crying is when I see boys and girls from far-flung corners of a country playing with this oddly shaped ball on a mud field with the blue sky above them and the mud below them and a ball in their hand. And they seem like demigods. That's what they seem like. As an administrator, and I do not know when I became one, I don't know how to run sport. The only thing I know is the one unfailing ingredient in every single inspirational story is love. All I focus on doing is showing love to our rugby players, which is what I would have loved when I was playing for India for 11 years. I remember the first time I became president, there was an under-18 Asian tournament, and there was myself, the secretary of the organization, the CEO, the head coach, 6-7 of us, head of high performance, and each one would contribute like a conveyor belt something into a roll of towel. Somebody would put Odomos, somebody would put hand sanitizer. This was just post-COVID. Somebody would put in shampoo. Somebody would put in a bottle of coconut oil. Somebody would put in a menstrual product. And then we would make these gift towels rolled up and place it on the bed of the athlete who was going to come. It costs you nothing. It costs you, it's like that MasterCard ad. Cost of doing this, 700 rupees. Somebody more interesting than me, I'll wait. But the effect of doing something like this is priceless. And that translates into where should we have the national tournament? Let's do it in Calcutta because we have a fantastic, huge sponsor. No. If I was a rugby player in June in India, where would I like to play? At the coolest place. Can we find Bangalore? Can we look at maybe Jalpaiguri? Next, what is the ground like? If a rugby player wants nothing more than a fantastic ground. They will forgive everything else. Which is the best ground in India in June? And finally, where's the food extremely nourishing and good? And where can they stay really well? Because I know as a rugby player, that's all. Ground, food, stay, that's all I need. Then we will decide how to fund it. or who will fund it. If you start every single thing you do thinking of the player, as a player, what would be perfect? You might not be spectacular, you might not break world records, but you will never do wrong. And for me, that is way more important as a human being, to just never do wrong. On an individual level, my phone is here. If somebody gets hold of my phone and walks away, zero tension. You can check my photographs, you can check my messages, you can do what the hell you like. I have no problem. I'm a very private person, but I have no secrets. So the idea of always thinking about or being propelled by love is something that has come to me, because at the age of 6, I stood on a stage slightly higher than this, and I discovered I loved acting. I discovered people were enjoying it, I was enjoying it, and it was the easiest thing I did, much easier than mathematics. And when I was 13 and I picked up this oddly shaped ball, again 3 things came to my mind. 1, unlike cricket, you can get dirty legitimately, and my parents would not shout at me. 2, you could be violent on that field and it would be celebrated, it would not be scorned. And 3, and I don't know whether it still holds true, but the more you bled, the sexier you were to girls in my school. The more you broke your bones, like I broke my nose for the first time, and the 3 most beautiful women in school were by my bedside. And I thought to myself, let me break my nose, whenever it's a dry spell, I'll break my nose and hopefully I'll be able to, get somewhere. So all the wrong reasons. But that's the same, that boy is still sitting here. The boy who played Tom the Piper's son, the boy who played for India, that boy is here. And that boy will never go anywhere. Only thing that has changed is the boy now knows to be slower, wiser, and to wait longer. But otherwise, everything else, the impulse of everything I do is I've been blessed with love and finding 2 things that make me so happy that I've never let them go. It's time for me to give that blessing back.
Brilliant, huh? Brilliant. Lovely. Beautiful.
आखिर उसकी मेहनत बेकार नहीं जाती, कोशिश करने वालों की कभी.
Brilliant. Adil, Rahul set the tone there. I mean, and I take you to Tokyo, there are 20 people in that stadium, and when that 87.58 happened, that throw, 70,000 stadium, there were 20 people, by the way, because of COVID. And each one of us started behaving, and Rahul's words, boys, we were all adults. I was 5 years younger, so I was 45. And we were all jumping and breaking all COVID protocols of 6 feet and, hugging each other. And every other journalist from around the world thought, what the hell is going on? They came and said, what's happening? And we said, an Indian is winning an Olympic gold for the first time in 100 years. You made it possible, Adil. You made it possible. And now you have a Sachin Yadav who's throwing, according to you, and quoting you, 90 meters 4 times in the last months, 29 medals at the Asian Games. Something's going on, something that is not cricket, but at the same time very rewarding. Tell me, how did you make this possible?
That's a very long story. It's 15 years of hard work. So I'll quickly try to compress it. So when I first became president, my president and my secretary general were in jail. And they had left about 3 crores of rupees in the account. So when I became president, I said, okay, there are 3 crores of rupees in the account. And the first month, the accountant calls me and says, sir, we have to pay salaries. I said, yeah, send me the check, I'll sign it. He said, there's no money in the account. So I said, means? The office staff had finished that money. The office staff finished that money in the few months that there was no president and secretary. So when I became president, I said 3 things. I was pushed into it. Nobody wanted to touch the Athletic Federation. I was the bad guy. I formed the Athletes Association. I went on hunger strike. Bhutta Singh had to come all the way to Patiala to break my hunger strike. I have to tell you a secret, I was quietly eating behind, not that I can never not eat, but that's another story. So I said three things. I said one, I said, you have made the naughtiest boy the monitor of the class, so I can't be naughty anymore. Second, I said, what I have suffered, and I must tell you, the night I went to the Olympic Games, I slept on the stairs of National Stadium, outside. Because I landed from Patiala at 3 in the morning, there was no bed, there was no room. I said, this will never happen again. And the third thing I said, I will try my hardest to make sure that we get a medal in athletics, which we have not got. So we started from that. At that time, then the Asian Games just happened, we had 8 medals, 8. So I said, this is not workable. So everybody I went to and said, I need some money, they said, no, Athletic Federation we can't touch. You are outcast. So first 6 months I paid salary from my pocket, 12 people's salary. Then I went to friends. They said, we'll give you money. I said, I don't want to go to jail. Boss, don't give me money in the name of federation. I can't collect that money. Put in the account, no. So we said, okay, you give me value in kind. So I'd say, यार ये athlete है, team जा रही है, इसको track suit दे दो. इसका train का fare, आप direct ticket इनका दे दो. आप इसका flight का ticket दे दो. So we started from there. Then I said, no, this is going nowhere. So I said, I need to make a strategic plan. Luckily, I have the education. My thesis was crafting a strategy and implementing it at Asian Institute of Management in Manila. So that was my thesis, and I said, let me put it to some use. So I created a strategy which was a twofold strategy, a grassroots strategy and an elite strategy. The elite strategy is very simple. Elite strategy, if you don't have the expertise, you buy it. Very simple. So I got foreign coaches. So today I have 7 foreign coaches, including somebody who has been Usain Bolt's assistant coach, somebody who's been an Olympic champion himself, etc., etc. That was simple. Now, the grassroots was the most difficult. So we pushed, and it was something which was started before my time. I must say it was started by Mr. Kalmadi and Lalit Banot. They had started something called the Inter-District Athletics Championships. But there were about 150 districts taking part. I said, no, we have 700 districts. So I made constitutional changes to ensure that these districts did their district championships. The keeper said, no, we can't do in district, we don't have a stadium. You have Maidan, no? Go, put chokka, chuna and do the events. You can't do pole vault, I understand. You can't do steeplechase, I understand. 100, 200, 400, 850, 5,000 long jump. Don't do javelin throw. You might kill somebody, except if you can clear the ground. Hammer, don't do at all. But other events you can do. People who did not do that, I suspended them. So I was the bad guy again. So there was both, I was very harsh with the districts because that's where the grassroots is. And if you see Neeraj Chopra, Duti Chand, Hima Das, everybody came out of this program. Then from here we select, and 13 athletes come to the All India Inter-District. The last All India Inter-District, we had 625 districts, 6,500 athletes. The Athletic Federation pays for their food, accommodation, travel, everything. So no district can say, I can't send my athlete, I don't have the money. And we feed 10,000 people, 6,000 athletes, they're under 14. They come with their parents. Where will the parents go? Lunch, breakfast, dinner, 10,000 people, 1 week. It cost me 15 crores of rupees.
Something good is happening in this country. We don't take a look, but something good is happening.
Okay, so that's the grassroots, and that is what we are pushing. So it is the strategic plan which is working. We pushed it. Then you create an ecosystem. So so there is the athlete. Now what? Where are the coaches? There are no coaches. Who becomes a coach? Have you even thought about it? कोई wrestler होगा, boxer होगा, जो school में, what in our days, जो डफर था, उसको कोई sports करेगा, sports में चला जाएगा. Now, NIS was the only institute. NIS to me is nothing in sports, but anyway, because they're doing nothing. It was at one time in the 50s and 60s amongst the top 5 institutes in the world. They let it go down the drain. The curriculum is 1950s. Sports science has changed. Everything has changed. The people who are teaching there, I'm very sorry to say, some of them are my colleagues. They can't put 4 sentences together. They are teaching there. So it's garbage in, garbage out, taught by garbage. The quality is so bad. So I said, no, now what do we do? So we have the World Athletics Coaching Program. Luckily, I got onto the world body. I'm the first Indian to ever be elected to the world body in its 100 and odd years of history. So I went to Lord Sepko, who's my president, and I said, so we have about less than 100 level 1 coaches, historically. I went to him and I said, I want to produce 5,000 coaches. So, Sep always looks up and says, get out. Very old friends. He said, Adil, get out. Adil, he calls me Adil. So, Adil, get out. I have no time for your nonsense. I said, Sep. So then he says, what? I said, I'm dead serious. But he said, how do we do it? A batch of 24 is all you can do, because the way it is structured. He said, how do I do it? I said, no. Very simple. I will pay for those trainers to come to India. They'll stay in India. They'll keep taking batches of 24 and training my coaches. If I have 700 districts, I need coaches. Today we have already 3,000 level 1 coaches. We had less than 10 level 2 coaches. I have 300 level 2 coaches. So now you have to again finish the ecosystem. It doesn't work like that. If you think there's one coach and one athlete to make an Olympic champion, no, you can't do it. So we said technical official. If these people get coached and if every district has to do a district competition, who's going to run the competition? Every day I get something on my phone. Sir, my son was first and he has been put third. This happened, that. Everybody has my number. I have 40,000 messages which I have not even seen. If you look right now, there are 40,000 messages which I have not seen.
So both Adil and Rahul have given their phones to us.
Pakro. So then we started creating technical officials. So then we said, okay, we don't need a national level technical. So we created district level, state level, national level, international level. And that is how you create an ecosystem. Now, again, if there's an athlete, he's injured, where are the doctors? You have only one. You have one. You don't have too many.
So on that note, the one. Let me ask Dinshaw, you ask Sundar.
Please,
okay?
please,
Okay.
done.
So what? In Paris, Vinesh Fogart fails, we abuse you. Shreya Shaier, we say, come on, why did you not get him ready on time? Rishabh Pant, he has to play a World Cup. So what if we sort of literally escape death? Dr. Padiwala, how on earth do you handle this? I mean, 7:30 a.m. till 9:30, you're in the surgery. How is it possible? How are you human? I mean, and are you Zen? Are you what? I mean, how do you keep doing these miracles day in, day out?
They're not really.
Yeah.
They're not really miracles. This is something that we are trained to do over the years, and if you do it in a correct stepwise fashion, then you can expect that outcome. Now, I think the question comes, why do you do it? And that's something that I picked up from Rahul and Adil right now. So why do we do what we do? As a kid, I loved sports. In fact, Rahul and I were in the same school and a few years senior to me, playing a lot of sports.
He never came second in class.
Yeah.
He was head boy. He never came second in class. Very, very good at sport. But if you looked at him, you would think, no chance. But, you know,
And you know, with my interest in medicine and sports medicine, I could never take up a sporting career, which I would have loved to do. And so today, when all of these athletes that I've treated do well, I'm really enjoying their success, you know, just because I probably couldn't have achieved it myself. Now, what do we do that gets them back? I think just a structured thing. If someone has an injury and he's an elite athlete, he's already reached that level, and we can't lose that athlete, because if you reach that level, then you're special. And in today's day and age, sports has a lot of injuries. Every sport, you're going to land up with an injury. And if we keep losing those athletes, then we're losing out on, you know, our sporting sort of geniuses that are out there. And so we have to have a structure in place to make sure that each of these guys gets treated, and that happens with a stepwise fashion. So say Vinesh has an injury, we need to quickly identify what that injury is, take care of it, make sure she gets the rehab and gets back. Whether it's Shreyas or you know, Sachin or MSD or anyone else, I think that same structure needs to remain. Diagnose what it is, make sure you know exactly what the problem is, treat it appropriately, and then get them back. You have different protocols for different sorts of injuries, but if you follow that basis, I think it's not that miraculous. Now, there'll be certain cases like, say, Rishabh's, which are extremely unusual. So, you know, to land up with a major car accident and then have a major injury and then expect that athlete to get back to elite sports, that's unusual.
Did you expect him to when he came to you?
My first instinct, so when he actually came to the hospital, the first thing, before he could ask me anything, his mom actually asked me, will he be able to walk again? That was her thing. I don't want him to play. Will he be able to walk again? When he's, you know, her actual question was, when he's taking his Feras, will he be able to walk again? And I said, I can guarantee he'll be able to walk again, but we'll try our best in ensuring that he can get back to cricket again. And then immediately and immediately, as soon as, you know, Rishabh heard that, his first question was, when am I going to get back again? You know, this all was not as part of the equation. He said, when am I going to get back again? And so it's different perspective when you are, you know, in a bed or you're seeing the situation from outside. So these, I think, times when there are difficult situations, but if you follow that same structure, that you've got an injury, however bad it is, we'll restore your anatomy, restore the way your structure is, and then work through all the steps of getting that function back. I think most of the times you can expect a good result. So it's not always a miracle. It's expected, but if everything falls into place.
And ladies and gentlemen, Rishabh Pant has, by quite some distance, fetched the highest amount of money in an IPL auction ever. And he's the vice captain of the Indian Test team. And he leads the Lucknow Super Giants, thanks to Dr. Dinshaw Padiwala. A huge round of applause for the man himself who got Rishabh Pant back on his feet. And we got a sensational athlete back. Going to Sundaramam sir, one very simple question to you. All three of them spoke from an athlete's perspective. Rahul sir said the same, Adil sir said the same, Dinshaw sir, he also said the same. We are all thinking from the athlete's perspective. Tata Steel is no different. They back the athletes when nobody does. They work at the grassroots level. They work from scratch. And it is actually paying dividends right now. So my question to you is, how does these athletes inspire you? Or how does the work that you do in backing the athletes make an inspirational journey for you to tell your future generations?
Yeah, thank you. I would give a recent example of Chero archers, because recently taking cue from the football academy and IPL and all, now we have archery academy. The first year, only last year it happened. So we were looking for one of the maybe franchises Tata Steel should support. So we supported, I think there were 7 archers in each of these groups. There were 6 groups. So when I went there was a lottery and all. And after the lottery, we got our team. Definitely not the Tata Steel athletes we got in that, someone else we got. But the best part is when I went and interacted with all of them, we wanted to have a photo session. There were almost 8 to 9 other archers who came to us, and all of them said, though we are in the other group, but we have been Tata Steel cadets. We have come from this archery academy. So we would like to be part of your photo session. So Deepika was not representing us, Chero archers. Ankita was not representing us, someone else was representing. But all of them were in the photo session. And when Mukul, who is our chief of sports, he was introducing them, each of them, saying that so and so is your coach. So why I have started with this, all of them and most of them have never come to a city. They were in their village. It was absolutely rural background. And recently when we were celebrating our Women's International Day, incidentally there were two people who talked about their experience. One was Ankita Bhagat and second Purnima Mato, who is the Dronacharya awardee also, and she's Padma Shri. Even she has also come from a humble background. The way she mentioned that when I said I would like to participate in sports, it was way back in mid-90s. Her parents never allowed her to get out of the house, but she became the coach of archery. So our operations, if you see, except from Jamshedpur, all our mining locations, everywhere we see, we have got big rural footprint. There we saw that if we can connect with them, so that's the reason why football, which is an easy sport to connect with people. Hockey is an easy sport to connect with people in the states of Jharkhand and Odisha. So that's how we started connecting with them, and from grassroots level we started working with them. And now after they have come to that, that's the same story of even football. If you see the football league, most of the players, they say that out of them, 100 of them are now part of all the leagues, and as well as around 30-40 of them represent the national football. So why I'm saying these things? So it is not that the day we started, we have dreamt of that. No. But over a period of time, these things happen. And when whoever comes to Jamshedpur, many people first, sad part is they say that Jamshedpur, where it is. We said in Jharkhand, then there is a bigger surprise, where is Jharkhand? This is a true story. Many of the people outside,
Really?
within India, I'm not talking about outside India, within India they don't know Jharkhand. And sometimes we give that Tata Steel, then they say, oh, I know Tata Steel, I heard Tata Steel, but where it is? So when they come to the city of Jamshedpur, when they go to our sports complex and they say that 43 Arjuna awardees are there, Dronacharya awardees were there, and not only the sports, the Tata Steel also we have Adventure Foundation where 14 of our coaches have submitted the Everest. For any company, 14 of people submitted. When we show them, I'll tell you the current head of sports is passed out in IITN. He's an IITN. When he joined us, he joined for metallurgist, he joined for steel making, but when he came and saw Bachendri Pal, he said, I would like to become another Bachendri Pal. Can I come to sports? We said, absolutely, because we don't get an IITN working as a sports, and he himself, Hemant Gupta himself, submitted Everest, and now he is a big inspiration for the younger generation. When we recruit people, they ask us, they're engineers, they ask us, can we get into Tata Sports? What do we do to get into that? So that has been, these are the stories we tell people that an IITN is there. And to just give an example, from Ahmedabad, Saurav Roy, he is CEO of Tata Steel Foundation. His main thing is working with people. She is, I think, she is also representing the sports of Tata Steel Foundation. Get to grassroots level, talk to them, motivate them, bring them to sports, give them education as well as sports, both. Because we don't concentrate only on sports, give them education also. And not only that, we work on the culture of the people, because see, unless you appreciate the culture, it's very difficult to bring them the part of the entire game plan. So we appreciate the culture. That's how we started developing, and these are the stories we tell the newcomers when they come. You just see these people, and if they can do it, why can't you do it? With that the background, they say that yes, we could do it. We could. And Ankita Bhagat recently, she has become the first Indian archer to become the Asian championship. She won, world championship. She won. That was the story.
If they can't do it, why you can't do it?
What Sundar just said, Ankita is left-handed. She didn't have a bow, because in India we don't produce bow for left-handed archers.
Oh, really?
Tata Steel bought her first bow at the age of 12. So if you speak to Ankita, she'll say, you know, the Tata Steel, when I was 12, they were the first people who bought me a bow. Agni, 10 minutes left. So,
correct.
Quick round, one quick round with everybody. You go first.
Correct.
Whoever you want to start with.
So I'll again start with Rahul, sir. And an offshoot of this conversation, sir, is largely, I think, Revsportz is also largely about inclusivity. It's about breaking the stereotype. It's about breaking the gender bias, as Boryada continuously emphasizes. And you have been, one of the principal advocates for that. You have delivered talks on gender equality at Oxford. So I'd like to ask you this. When you see that this is not a revolution anymore, this is a reality in Indian household right now. A Pratika Rawal gets celebrated equally as a Sanju Samson. And the female athletes are not just mere footnotes. They're part of the larger legacy. They're itself stories. How inspirational does that make you feel?
So anything you say about India, the reverse is also true. We're a very generous people. We're also very, very miserly. We're a very warm, friendly people. We can also be very cruel. We respect our women. We also disrespect our women. The truth is, in a complex, multi-layered, geographically diverse, and population-wise massive place like India, both truths will hold. Both will be true depending on where you are, and just a kilometer away the truth will change. So let me first temper your assumption by saying the reverse is also true, because I still believe that a large part of India, misogyny, patriarchy, outright cruelty, barbarism to women still exists. Now you don't just see, and I don't want to get into this too much, but you don't just see the molestation or the rape of a woman. It's not enough. She has to be broken, beaten, burnt. Because the threat to the patriarchy is growing day by day. And I keep saying, the more violent crimes we witness against women, even after they've died, it means that the threat is real to men who are holding on to patriarchy, property, money, and power. I'll leave that there. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to, and I can only talk about, I will only talk about rugby here. Just for context, out of 760 districts in India, rugby is played in 322. Nobody knows that 40% of India plays rugby. And there's no need to clap, because they could all just be playing once and go home. But I know that for the last 7 to 8 years, they've been playing in these 322 districts. Should we spread to 650, or should we deepen in 322? Conscious decision in our second phase of growth, and there are 3 phases of growth for federations, which I believe, across the world. His is in the 3rd phase. His is in the beginning or towards the middle of the 3rd phase. He's yet to get to his, to the acme of the 3rd phase being the final phase, where, you can look at, swimming in East Germany or diving in China, the way it was in its 3rd phase, where you took it for granted that there'd be 10 medals coming in. So, our women today are ranked 6th in Asia out of 36 countries playing rugby sevens. For context, about maybe 100 plus countries will play it across the world. There are no world rankings, but if you just go continent by continent, you can say you're in the top 40. Again, for context, there has been no Indian team that has participated in the Olympics in the last 75 years, apart from hockey. Just one team has gone to the Olympics from India. And by 2032, it will be 80 years. Football was there in the 50s. If our women, ranked 6th in Asia, make it to the top 2, they will go into the Olympics. We have 5 years to 2032, 2031, and we have 4 places to move up. Doable, yes. Difficult, very. The reason why none of you know about rugby is very, very simple. 3 words: we haven't won. The reason you know about badminton, the reason you know about table tennis, the reason you know about golf, whenever, in some point, oh Saurav Ghoshal, oh Anahat, oh Vishy, oh Gukesh, it's just, what do we get to know? We get to know people who win. Neeraj today, somebody tomorrow, right? And then automatically every parent in the country, the first thing they want for their children is not happiness. They want financial stability.
Of course.
It's a poor, poor country. Civilizationally, we are poor. So you first are just obsessed about मेरा बेटा मेरी बेटी अपने दो पैर पे अपने बल पे खड़े रहे. तो अगर ये हम कर सकते हैं तो हमारा जो कर्तव्य है माता पिता होते हुए ये हमने निभा लिया है. बाकी सुख दुख तो होता रहेगा. We are very philosophical about love, hate, happiness, but we are very obsessed about financial stability. So when you talk about inspiration, Ogni, the first thing I did, even before I became president, I was on the board, is to go to a sponsor, I will not name, but one of the big states of this country, and say, can you please give me 1 crore, I need to pay my players. They said, okay, tell us how much you want to pay them. And you know, what will be the girls, boys, under 18, whatever. And I made a budget of 1 crore, 1 lakhs. And I said, this is where it's going to go. Now you look at parents, and you'll have thousands of examples, Adil, because you've been here much longer with greater success than any of us have. Vaishnavi's father is an auto rickshaw driver in Maharashtra. Refused to let her play when he saw her in shorts going out to play. It was disgust, and it was, I'm telling you, don't do this. But, you know, Maharashtrian mothers are also mothers. She went and played. Vaishnavi went and played. My mother was Maharashtrian. I'm from Kolhapur. And one fine day she came back with 2 lakhs in her pocket after having won a tournament. And father was there in his auto rickshaw, and 30 of his auto rickshaw buddies were there, and they did a victory celebration around Kolhapur.
Wow.
Amazing.
This is money in the form of love, in the form of inspiration.
Fantastic.
You know, that's what happens. So when you get down to looking at it, finally, you really need to get into the crux of it and say, how do I create hope for not the athlete, but for the athlete's parents to say, go and play.
Brilliant, yeah, brilliant. I mean, we can keep going with this panel, but Adil, 1 minute to each one of you because we've got to move to the next one. Asian Games coming. What's your hope? I mean, Neeraj, Arshad, yes, but is there someone else? I mean, that we should now start looking?
Lots of people. I mean, if you got 29 medals, that means there are lots of people. And I am one of those superstitious guys who never talks about medals. I'm just saying we'll do better than last time. That's all I'm going to say. One sentence.
At the Asian level, but at LA? I mean, are you expecting good results at LA? Because the gap is huge.
LA will be better than Paris. 100%.
Nice.
That is the breaking news of the session
Nice.
from Adil Sumariwala. LA will be better than Paris in terms of medals. Please write that down, Shomikda.
Dr. Padiwala, again, I mean, when I see Jasprit Bumrah and I hear if he breaks down again, his test career is over and everybody looks to you. Is that so? What is going through the guy's mind? When he comes to you, what do you tell him? That can he exert? Can he play more than 3 tests? No, he can't play. How do you deal with such situations? He's a national treasure.
Yeah, he's a national treasure, but I think for every athlete you need to consider, are you looking at short term? Are you looking at long term? Do you want longevity in the sport? Or do you want to just do everything possible for the next 1 year and go out with a bang? And then the athlete decides, no, I want longevity in the sport. I want to be there for as long as possible. Then our approach is a little different. For any athlete who's going to be pounding his knees and twisting his back and who's going to possibly land up with overuse injuries, you need to then moderate it as you start growing older. You're not 18 or 19 or 20 anymore. If you're going to touch 30, your body's going to take the toll, and then comes this whole, so-called workload management. You need to appreciate that human body can only take that much. Now, you can either spread it out and do it wisely and scientifically, or if national needs demand, then you put it all into that one important, World Cup or tournament, and then we'll worry about what happens thereafter. So each one has their own approach. Some of these guys are extremely intelligent, and they've made up their mind long before they've come to you as to what they want, and then we need to tailor-make that, okay, if this is what you want, this is the way we can achieve it. And there'll be others who'll say, no, this IPL is, for me, a cusp moment. It's an all or none. I'm going to do everything for this IPL, and then what it takes is what it takes. So then our approach has to be a little different. You're thinking short term, and you're not really thinking long-term or longevity anymore.
But is that a challenge for you as well? I mean, do you...
Yeah, it is a challenge, but I think it's important to understand that each human being knows his situation best. So as an athlete and his support team and his coach, they know the situation best. You as a medical support to him need to try and make sure that his aspirations and what his goals are realistic and they're met. And our approach, therefore, is different for different athletes.
Shomikda, you got another breaking. The workload management of Jasprit Bumrah, the short-term and long-term goals. You are happy now with the breaking part? Yes.
Sundar, one thing, just to close with you. You know, Tata Steel, they are title sponsors of the IPL, Tata IPL. You could have easily invested more in cricket. You are in hockey, you are in every sport, every sport. You're not chasing headlines, you're not chasing numbers, you're not chasing sensationalism, you're backing athletics, you're backing everything. Is that something that you're genuinely proud of, being a part of Tata Steel?
See, when we received an award in football for promoting grassroots level, because generally what you have, because we have got almost 13 clubs playing ISL. We are the only club who have got 90% of our footballers from our Tata Football Academy. And even at one point in time, the India coach was also an Indian. Now he has become national coach. National coach. Entire, including all the 3 coaches and all the players, everyone, we got them through that. So that is number one. That's the pride point. Second is, as I mentioned, the award we got for grassroots level only because we start working from the age of 7. We have got under 7, under 9, under 13, under 15, and then seniors also. So that has been the philosophy. And why we are not into cricket, apart from the Tata IPL, rest everywhere, as I said, cricket has been always in the limelight. But other sports which required, like hockey, archery, football, that is the reason I think these 3 were the first 3 academies we started, not a cricket academy.
I'll end on that note with